players left. Pulls up, looking for the lead, and got it. Jalen Williams, 2 seconds, 1:11, 1:09. Out, SGA, probing, piercing, spinning, hanging for the lead, and SGA knocks it down. The Thunder finally get the defensive stop, and SGA puts them in front.
I'm Kenrich Williams. You're listening to Topic Thunder.
Hello and welcome in another episode of Topic Thunder Podcast. I am Matt Tierney. I'm here today solo at first. Quick little rundown of today. We're recording this on Mother's Day. It's Sunday. It's the post game for Game 4. A lot of our podcast members are celebrating their wives / mothers today, and so it's obviously fair enough for that, because well deserved for all the moms out there. Shout out everyone who is a mom listening as well, all the Thunder moms. But that's just to say that we're going to be doing things a little bit differently today. I am going to be joined a little bit later by Cone, our NBA correspondent. He's just wrapping up a couple of things and then he should be hopping on here. So in the meantime, I'll be running solo with you guys. And if you are in the chat, please let me know. Shout out any questions you want to get answered. It'll probably help me to, keep on track too if I see some questions from you guys. So appreciate it if you are watching this live or after the fact on our YouTube, which, by the way, if you have not done so, please subscribe. Also like this video. We are close to 900 subs already on the YouTube, which is really great. We're trying to get to 1,000, but the grind continues there. So thank you all who have already subbed, but if you have not, please do. And also, while I'm thinking about things to plug, we dropped new merch. I don't have it linked right now, but I'll try to link it once Cone gets in here and I can kind of do more than just talking. We'll link it in the YouTube chat. But we dropped a cookies and cream merch for the Demon duo, Alex Caruso, Kaysen Wallace, both of which were amazing tonight. It's a little sneak peek. So if you have not checked out the merch, you can find it on our Twitter if you have Twitter. But I'll also link it a little bit later in the YouTube chat, the live chat. So all the plugging is now done. Thank you for allowing me to do that. So Game 4, early game in Denver. Very ugly game. We're just going to do some very overview topics to start. Very ugly game. The first quarter, pretty sure the Nuggets had 8 points. And I think at the half, both teams were 14% from three. Yes, T in the chat. The cookies and cream shirt is so relevant tonight. It is. What a great time to drop that merch. They were both amazing. We will get to both of them shortly. But yeah, that very ugly. I don't think anyone, I would say, had a great night offensively. There were definitely some good players in good moments. But the shooting was pretty bad. Both teams on the night ended up shooting under 25% from three, both shooting over 40 attempts, and both teams shooting under 40% from the field in general. So just a really, really bad game offensively. Now, for the Thunder, I think their defense showed up big time. I think Denver's offense was stifled quite a bit because of the Thunder defense. But I think on the other side of things, Denver's defense wasn't exactly stellar. There were some moments. I think the Thunder offense just has been pretty piss poor. We saw a lot of, especially in the third quarter, a lot of shifting away from their identity offensively, not really moving the ball at all. Shea kind of going into ISO mode or throwing one pass over to like Wiggins or whoever was on the wing and they just shoot a three. It's not been good. But we may jump back to all of the things that need improving a little bit later. But let's talk about now this fourth quarter, because coming into that fourth quarter, I think I speak for most Thunder fans, especially those who have been watching all of the games so far in the series. I don't think there was a lot of hope in that fourth quarter, because the identity of this team seems to be, if you have a sizable lead, they can maintain it. But at least in this series, when it is a close game, when it is, clutch time, they have not stepped up. The Nuggets have seemed like they have, with their experience, been able to just be better down the stretch, make more plays more often, stay within their offense, stay within their identity, and the Thunder have not. But that was not the case today. And that was an incredibly refreshing was the word I used a lot. Refreshing fourth quarter to see, because the offense just changed. The end of the third, there was no ball movement. It was just hope and pray. The Nuggets were kind of just letting us shoot corner threes with guys who weren't making a lot. Lou Dort was taking a lot of threes. Isaiah Joe. Aaron Wiggins did make a few in the fourth, but he was not making them in the third. They were just letting us shoot those threes. But then in the fourth quarter, the very first offensive play, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, was into the Nuggets zone, which they're playing a zone pretty much the entire second half. I think also a little bit of the first. Very simple. Alex Caruso, high screen. Dub gets to kind of like the free throw line. And immediately that space that he's in allows him to lob it up to Isaiah Hartenstein. It's an and one because Peyton Watson can't get back in time because he's in a zone. And that immediately, that first play, it's like, okay, they're moving the ball. They're running offense. Good. That we are capable of doing this. And then you got two people in particular that down that stretch also, because they were moving the ball, because they were just doing simple things like passing it one way and then wrapping it back around the other side of the floor. They were getting open looks. And Cason Wallace and Aaron Wiggins were two guys in this fourth quarter that were unbelievably impactful because they just made their shots from three. And that's all it felt like we needed. That ultimately gave us a bit of a stretch. We were down, I think, either 5 or 6 heading into the fourth. We then immediately, within probably 3 to 4 minutes, had about a 4 to 5 lead, 4 to 5 point lead. And Shea came into a little bit later, I think around the 7-minute mark. Still wasn't really in rhythm, I would say, but made enough of an impact himself as he typically does. But the one other play I do want to mention specifically in this fourth quarter while I'm thinking about it was when Shea was in. The only good play I saw tonight from J-Dub was in this fourth quarter. And all it was again, very simple, but it was this pick and pop kind of with Dub and Chet, where Dub screens, pops out, Shea hits him, and immediately just beelines it to the rim. And when he's got a head of steam and he's in control like he is so dangerous. And it was very easy. He found an angle and he scored. And it was just like so he can do this. Like I didn't see that any other time this game, at least to my knowledge. So the fact that he actually got something going for as brief of a moment as it was in the fourth quarter was great. But if you look at the stat line, J-Dub's offense collectively was pretty bad. But that one play in the fourth quarter was just it just showed me that they are capable of running offense that can find the open man, that can move the ball, that can just get to open guys that can shoot, or get to open guys that can drive. They have so many weapons that can do that. Now, into the game, just to kind of put a bow on that, there was, it was pretty much over. There was a couple of things there at the very, very end that were a little bit iffy. There was sort of a weird lane. Well, it was two things. It was Aaron Gordon got fouled, and it looked like just a foul, like a common foul on the floor there in the bonus. For some reason, they gave him 3 free throws. So they said he was shooting. Very questionable call in the moment. Did not look like he was shooting at all. Whatever. He misses the first, which, by the way, the Nuggets missed a ton of free throws. I think that was a big part of this loss for them down the stretch. But he missed the first, made the second, and then third one, he intentionally tries to miss because they were down, I think, either 4 or 5 at this point. No, 6, excuse me. And Jokic clearly steps into the lane first. It's a lane violation. But because I think it was Isaiah Hartenstein, maybe it was somebody else, but it doesn't matter. Someone else on the Thunder stepped in after him. The call on the floor was a jump ball. And then the jump ball led to Nuggets possession. Gordon hit a 3. Very crazy 3, by the way. A prayer 3. And that put them in one possession. Now, it didn't end up mattering because we got the ball, made our free throws, which, by the way, Dub's free throws there at the end were massive because he was not seeing the ball go in the hoop at all. So the fact that he hit those 2 free throws at the end to put us up 5 and seal the game, huge. But the fact that even that lane violation call was called that way was kind of crazy. And if it had led to anything, impactful, definitely would have talked about it. But yeah. The Thunder did not do what they've been doing this series in close games. They finished the game and they finished it well. And that's what you can say from this game. Now, T in the chat saying Chet. Let's talk about Chet. Let's talk about both Chet and Dub. Chet's game 2, I thought was great. And I thought J-Dub's game 3 was also great. Clearly has not been consistent. I think there's a couple of ways you can think about this. They're both very young. I often wonder if the I don't know what the word, the noun, I guess the youthness of them in the bright lights, so to speak, has been more of an impact than we have noticed. But I talked about Dub's ability to drive, and he's just not really doing it that well. And I think Chet is capable of taking advantage of Jokic defense. Obviously, he gives up a lot of size, but I think there is ways he can use his ability to, his ball control for a 7-footer is good enough to take advantage of that disadvantage. Neither one of those guys have been really playing as I think they are capable of playing today. And we've seen it a couple of other times in this series as well. Youthfulness. Thank you, Dorla. I could not think of is that a word, youthfulness? I don't know if it is. I'm going to believe you. Chet's rebounding has been consistent. You're right. He had 13 rebounds today. But offensively, even defensively, it didn't feel like Chet's defense was much of a presence in the same way that you typically think of Chet, where teams are afraid to go at the rim with him. And I kind of think the Nuggets just don't really go at him that much. Jokic doesn't really, Chet's usually not on Jokic, but it just didn't really feel like his defensive presence was felt at all today, as well as his offense. Ended up today, Chet being, 11? No, 8. 8 points, 13 rebounds, 4 of 10 from the field, 0 of 3 from 3. The threes still look flat. A lot of the team looked flat today, and I think that was probably because of the quick turnaround. But just couldn't really find any sort of rhythm today offensively. So I don't know. I'm sure Cone will have some thoughts on Chet and Dub when he gets in here. Dub, I don't think I said his stats, 10 points, 2 of 13. 2 of 13 is crazy. He's capable of so much more. 0 of 5 from 3. did have 6 of 6 from the field free throw line, including those last 2 at the end. So that is something to mention. Shea, I think, never really fully got in rhythm, but he did enough to still make his presence known. He didn't have, 8 of 19 is nothing to complain about by any means. It just felt like a lot of those missed shots were shots that, baseline, mid-range shots that he usually makes that just weren't going in. Again, they were flat, hitting the front of the rim. But he did get to the free throw line quite a bit, 9 of 12 from there. Missing 3 free throws for Shea, too. That was kind of preposterous. Nathan says, yeah, it's funny. We want most of the dudes to put more air in their shot and Dort to take some air out. Yeah, agreed. Dort's the only one that seems to hit the ceiling almost. And then everybody else is the flattest arc I've seen today. That it was very clear. I think Chet had a little, I don't know what it's called, interview in the break where he was talking about how basically this is a back-to-back, or as close to a back-to-back game as you can get in the playoffs because of the overtime and on Friday, and then a afternoon game on Sunday. You have less than a day and a half essentially to prepare. So I do think that was a factor. It's also in Denver. There's altitude. That's going to affect them. And I think maybe that was one of the bigger reasons why the shots were not falling, especially in the first half. But yeah, it just looked like all of them had tired legs out there, and they could not get any arc on their shot, except Lou Dort, who was 2 of 10 from 3 today. Again, not a good performance from him shooting wise. Played only 19 minutes. I think I did like, that was one thing I liked about Mark's coaching today. Was he got more of the guys that were playing well in there more than Dort. Caruso and Kaysen ended up with more minutes on the floor, and I like that, especially how this, obviously no disrespect to Lou Dort, but like those other 2 guys I mentioned have been playing so much better, have been so much more impactful. And if Lou Dort's going to go through a shooting slump like this, you've got to figure out other ways to make impact. So, overall, I thought that was a great decision by Mark. I do think there were little points in the game where I thought his rotations were a little weird. Like Kaysen coming out pretty early in the fourth, I thought was questionable, especially because he did go 3 of 3. And I think all of those were in the fourth, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that. No, he went 2 of 2 in the fourth. So, but I mean, clearly a hot hand, very good guarding Jamal Murray. I don't know why they took him out that early, to be honest. I wonder if our humidity affects them negatively. I don't know. Hopefully we have another advantage on the other end at home on Tuesday, but we'll see. But yeah, Lou Dort has just been in a major shooting slump. We've seen these before. Shooters will have these, but I think between this game and game 3, I think he wasn't out on the floor as much in game 4 as he was in game 3, and I think until he can sort of figure it out a little bit, I would like to see more of these other guards, these Carusos, these Kaysens, Aaron Wiggins are the big 3, and I think that's where I want to spend the most of our positive time tonight is on those 3 gentlemen I just mentioned. We, of course, have the cookies and cream demon duo, Kaysen and Caruso. Major impact both on this game. They're both plus 12 tonight. And then Aaron Wiggins, the man who saved basketball, with plus 14 on the night. He had 11 points, 4 of 8 shooting, 3 of 6 from 3. I think all of those threes were in the second half. Kaysen Wallace, 11 points as well, 4 of 7, 3 of 3 from deep. Also 2 steals. And then Alex Caruso, not sure how he's not credited with any steals. He definitely forced at least 1 big turnover in the fourth quarter, but did end up with 10 points, 3 of 7, 2 of 5 from 3. So if you do the math there, that was 8 made threes among those 3. And we made 10 as a team. So just kind of, That was our 3-point shooting, was those three guys. And it all happened to be in that fourth quarter. So it was a major part of this win, was those three role players. Alex Caruso, anyone who listens to this podcast knows we love Alex Caruso. We would die for him. I would die for him. If he needed me to do anything, I would do it. He's such a ride or die guy. He is such a big part of this team. He's not the best player by any stretch. He's not ever going to be, but he is, in many cases, one of the most impactful. He makes all the little plays. He does all the little things. He always brings full effort. And one of the things they did mention in the broadcast today was during that third quarter where they were down 6, apparently Caruso was in the huddle being like, guys, it doesn't matter how we got here. We're down 6. It's just like any other basketball game. We are capable of getting out of a 6-point deficit. We know who we are. We can do this. And you see it also on the court. Like he's always, doing like the clap at people, if you know what I mean, like the hype up clap. He's always trying to get people energized. Those things matter. It matters. The little things that he does with the basketball, but the little things he does without the basketball all matter. And he is worth every bit of his, whatever it is, 4 years, 44 million, something like that. He is worth every bit of it. I know he's old, but I don't care. If you don't think he is worth that, then I don't know what to tell you, because he is. So shout out Alex Caruso, because he was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Aaron Wiggins too, like I mentioned, the two, I think he was 2 threes in the fourth. Let me double check that too. No, he only had 1 in the fourth. So yeah, I guess it was the third quarter where his 2 of 3 from 3 in the third quarter was very much helped keep them out of, dangerous territory, because the Nuggets were hitting everything in the third. And he was able to at least knock a couple down for us when we really had nothing going on offense. And then also hit 1 in the fourth. That was pretty much what sparked the shooting in general. He was one of the first to knock it down. And then, Kaysen, again, like him being on Jamal Murray obviously Jamal's going to get his shot. He's going to find separation every now and then. I think he did a couple of times on Kaysen, but I think overall defensively, he was just very, very solid. Just what you want out of a role player like that. Gives you really good minutes on that end. I'd sooner pay Alex Caruso instead of paying Jimmy Butler. Yeah, $60 million a year. I agree. Yeah, I would rather pay Caruso what we're paying him right now than paying out of pocket for someone, obviously more talented like Jimmy Butler, and also someone who brings a lot of effort like Jimmy Butler. But I think the value is there for Caruso, for what you were getting for him, even though he is going to age, even though he's going to be like 35, 36, whatever it is when his contract ends. The value's there. He is impactful off the court too. So, and I hope he sticks with us all his whole contract, because he's going to be useful. A couple of other guys I wanted to mention. Jay Will. He didn't get into a little bit of foul trouble today. He was on Jokic a lot of his defensive minutes. I don't think he played bad defense by any stretch. I don't think it was great either. Obviously he was, letting Jokic get to the free throw line a little bit, but I thought, to be honest, all they needed him to do was just be like another body that they threw at Jokic. And he was able to kind of do that. He was able to be physical and not just let him back him down like he can do, like Jokic can do with some of these other guards, where you can just back them down and at will. He stood his ground a little bit. He wore out Jokic a little bit. That's kind of what you want from Jay Will. You would also like him to do a little bit offensively. He didn't do much. Nobody really did that much anyway. But I thought defensively he did a decent job. I don't think he was a negative by any stretch. And then the other guy we haven't mentioned, and one that I am a bit worried about, is Isaiah Joe, because he played 7 minutes and went 0 of 4, 0 of 3 from deep. I don't mind that much the 7 minutes, because it was clear that if he's going to miss his threes, he's not going to be much of an impact. That's not to say he can't do other things, but I think when I don't remember what his shot output was. I don't think he played much at all the second half. Yeah, he went 0 of 1 in the first, 0 of 3 in the second. So yeah, didn't shoot at all, didn't play at all in the second half. And I think that's fair by Mark. I think if your shooters are cold, don't play them. But yeah, definitely a struggle on the shooting from Isaiah Joe. And I mean, I think he hit one on the game 3. So we're not too worried just yet. Shout out Dylan in the chat. Appreciate you. All right. I've done a lot of yapping. It's time to bring on somebody else to the stream that can talk. It is the NBA correspondent, Cone. Cone.
What's good? What's good? Thunder up, man. There we are.
You're up, brother. How has things been? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. It was a stressful day.
It was a stressful day.
You think starting at 3:30, you wouldn't. It'd be like, it's not that like long lead up to like a 7:30 or an 8:30 or apparently a 10:30 start time last game. But I was stressful, man. I was anxious. I was nervous. Not usually for Thunder games. I mean, I was confident coming into today, but it got kind of late, and it's like, this is a close game, especially when they went up 6 to head into the fourth quarter. I was like, all right, this is kind of the make or break moment. Like, this is, we either put up or shut up. If you want to show that you don't need the more experience, that you're able to win these clutch games, that you're capable of winning an NBA Finals, like, this is when you do it. And I mean, they did it. Like, it's not pretty all the time, but that's the way the playoffs are. And I think, you got to remember that these have been kind of a gross playoffs for the most part. There's a lot of stars who are shooting way under their typical percentages. And it's like, it is very normal to shoot under your usual percentages kind of thing,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was definitely a much more pronounced today. I think this was just a gross game in general.
Which the NBA schedule makers did no favors for either of these teams, setting it up so that it was a 10 o'clock game, which of course got pushed back to 10:30 because of a million fouls down the stretch of Cavs Pacers. And then having them play at 3:30. Like, I don't know why the East Coast, I mean, we won, so I'm not going to question it, but I don't know why the East Coast Pacers Cavs game wasn't earlier in the day and this one was later, but whatever. It's what they went with. And yeah, we got a win. Shout out to everybody did something at some point. There were, much worse game from Dub shooting the basketball. But
wasn't great.
A lot of great defensive plays from him, and got, knocked down the clutch 2 free throws to go ahead and seal it as well. We didn't have miss both free throws and, oh shoot, all of a sudden they could tie it with a miracle 3 kind of moment. Shea, I thought was good. Obviously there were some misses down the stretch. I didn't love the threes that he went for, but
I understand why people are saying that. I think there is a world where if he hits one of those threes, it's game over. I think that's what he was going for. But I see what you're saying too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind him going for the knockout punch at all. Like, I don't mind it. But the fact that we were in the bonus like so long, and that they were giving him some call, like, I would have liked to see him get downhill a little bit. But I mean, I'm sure he's exhausted. Like, everybody seemed exhausted out there playing in Denver. Of course, it's going to wind you a little bit more. And like, Shea has taken those shots all season to try and prep for this moment, and they haven't really fallen in this series. But even still, like, I trust Shea to take threes. I trust him especially to take mid-range jumpers to attack the basket. He had that one midi where he pump fake, spun around, and shot it leading in. Yeah, that was actually a shot I liked. Like, he took,
it was better than
he took all 24 seconds off the shot clock when we needed to waste clock. And that's a look that if Shea made it, I wasn't going to be surprised whatsoever. So I thought overall Shea was pretty good. If he doesn't take like 1 or 2 of those threes, he ends up at like 50% for the game. He was right under that. And especially when you consider how inefficient Jokic has been, like, it's something I'm going to live with in the playoffs. Even if your efficiency drops a little bit, he came up in the final moments when we needed him. He had like, I think 9 points in the fourth quarter. That's what we needed. Like, that's what we're going to need from our top guy. Shout out to Caruso, Kaysen, and Wiggins. All those guys came up so huge. 8 of our 10 threes. By the way, hitting only 10 threes and winning a basketball game. you want to see different ways to win a basketball game. There's one of them, but like Kaysen came up so big. I think 2 of those threes were in the fourth quarter.
Yep.
Wiggins hit some in the third quarter to keep us afloat. Caruso finally gave us some back-to-back, I believe it was. There's only 2 in the second quarter. Like those guys kept us in the game, especially when they started to heat up a little bit. Wiggins stepped up. Kaysen stepped up. It's not been a good shooting season, or not season, but series for Lou Dort at all. He's really struggled to shoot from 3. The team as a whole obviously has struggled quite a bit to shoot from 3. But it is nice to see that this team can go in there and, get a gritty road win. Like, if you're going to win an NBA Finals, you got to show an ability to do that. You got to be able to come up in the clutch. And, I mean, that's what we did. Like, we ended up beating the Denver Nuggets on the road. Like, that's a massive accomplishment to go in there. And not only do that, but they looked kind of dysfunctional down the stretch when that has kind of been our MO through the first 3 games. When it was, close, we just kind of fell apart, especially in that overtime, like we had nothing going. And today, the defense, we talked a lot on this podcast about how it's an all-time defense. It's an all-time defense. It looked like an all-time defense today. Like down the stretch, the Nuggets had absolutely nothing going. Jamal Murray had that one step back jumper. I think it was in the third quarter. And it felt like one of the rare moments where anyone ever created space. All of the shots they're taking are either very contested. It's often offensive rebounds. So there's a lot of scrambling, or it is a look that, we're willing to concede. Yeah. Like I said at the end of the first half, defense has been awesome, or at the end of the first quarter, one of the two. And there are a number of people that were like, well, we're giving up a number of open threes. I'm like, yeah, but if it's Peyton Watson taking those, then that is perfectly fine with me. Yeah. If it's, Christian Brown, I would prefer to have him a little bit guarded, but I'm not super scared. Russ, he shot amazing to start off the playoffs against the Clippers and the seasons or the series against us. He started off pretty well, but he's definitely come back down now quite a bit. Like if Russ, he shot 2 of 9. If Russ is taking a 3 instead of a Jokic post attack, I'm going to take that a million times out of a million. Like in modern basketball, with the spacing, with the offensive movement that Denver has, the way we're trying to slow down Jokic, which we've done literally the best job out of any team that has ever played him in the playoffs. This is statistically the worst series of Jokic's entire career. Yeah. Aaron Gordon has been super heroic, and Russ has had some awesome moments, and Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. But outside of that first game where Jokic went completely ballistic and had 40 and 20, and especially if you encapsulate those numbers, which was a monster game, the fact that he's this low in terms of production, it's mind-blowing. Like they've done such a good job, but to guard a guy as talented as Jokic and keep him to these numbers, you've got to concede stuff. You have to. You're always going to have to. Teams concede stuff against us. We were getting open threes. We just weren't hitting them. And they had to sell, they've been selling out to stop Shea, knocked down more of those threes. And, I think we're in business in game 5, especially. But it's the way it works in the modern NBA. If you're giving up open threes, and that's what we did against Dallas, but PJ is a better shooter. I trust PJ Washington more as a shooter than Russell Westbrook or Peyton Watson. And, he burned us quite a number of times in that series. Which, by the way, Aaron Gordon, we want to talk about PJ Washington 2.0, maybe even scarier. Aaron Gordon, man.
The offensive rebounding, too, was just a nightmare in that second half. It was just every single shot they got, it was another second chance because of Aaron Gordon. But the three-point shooting, too, he had the one, it ended up amounting to nothing, but the one at the end to make it 3 points was just like, what's going on here? But he's just been amazing. It's very clear his shooting has gotten so much better from past seasons.
We saw it during the season, but it was one of those things where you're like, okay, but he didn't shoot a lot of them. So going into the playoffs, is he a guy where he's not a super high volume shooter, but he shot him well? Where does that percentage kind of land overall? Turns out it lands at the best shooter in NBA history is apparently where it lands. I said this in my YouTube video today, but if you told me for my life I had to either have Steph Curry or 2025 playoff Aaron Gordon make a 3, give me AG. At this point, man, I'll literally contest it. That's how confident I am that he's just going to make that shot.
And in the context too of how bad the shooting has been, the fact that he's still shooting what he is shooting is even more.
Yeah, impressive. Been worlds ahead of anybody else in the series shooting the 3 ball. It's not even been a conversation. Yeah.
Man. So what you were saying earlier with Jokic, though, I do think that I didn't hit that really before you got on. I think it is worth just really highlighting how important and how historical this is in Jokic's career, that we are not allowing him to do really anything that he wants to do. And I think that's a testament to just how much we rotate in guys on him. I think if you look at if we played the Nuggets last postseason, you basically just have like Chet and Jay Will. And I think if you think about that, Chet is going to be so just a mess, just physically. Like he cannot keep up with that. Jay Will, I thought I mentioned it before you got on. I thought Jay Will did like not great, but I think he did like pretty okay on Jokic tonight. Like just being like a body to be on him. Yeah. And then you obviously have Hardenstein. That's going to be your main guy. So that, and then they rotate in like Dub. Sometimes they get the small guys on him like Caruso or Case. And like there's just so many guys that were on him that it just wears him down. And he's playing 40, 45 minutes a night. Like even the best player in the world, like Jokic is not going to be able to sustain that. And I think that isn't just the fact that Jokic is in an off night. Like, we're saying some of these other guys are on our team. I think this is just, he just cannot get what he wants. And I think that is a huge problem to this defense.
And I mean, we're a hyper physical defense. It's why when people are like, this team doesn't really have, they're not going to be as successful in the playoffs. I was confused because, we are very, very physical. And that's when the physicality ramps up is the postseason. And, we are bodying up with Jokic down low. If it's Jay Will, if it's Hartenstein, if it's Chet, Caruso has gotten a number of switches on Jokic and he's battling him in the post.
Yep.
Like he's getting worn out. And this, to me, this is really where the rest advantage comes along. We talked about the Thunder having 9 days of rest going into game one, and it's a conversation of rust versus rest. But really where a rest advantage comes into play is when we are now heading into game 4, game 5 of the series. And the Nuggets have been playing basically every other day for like the past, couple of weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is at this point. And it was a 7-game series against the Clippers where Jokic had to body up down low against Zubats over and over and over again. And now he's seeing 2, 3, 4 bodies, whether it's Hartenstein or it's Chet or it's, Caruso and a number of other guys or Jay Will. Like he is getting hammered and it's resulting in some free throws. Like the Nuggets shot a lot more free throws than us tonight, but it's worth it for the advantage of, we have the rest advantage. We are fresher legs. Take advantage of that, especially playing in Denver, where we're going to get fatigued quicker because that's, the way the altitude works. They love to shout out their altitude. It is very helpful to be physical, to be bumping guys off their spots. Even if you give up some free throws, if you are, bodying people up, it's going to result in you having a much better chance to beat them in the end. And you could see, they got a lot of tired legs. Jokic is selling for a lot of jumpers. And I want to see if I can find this stat real quick. During the regular season, Jokic shot jumpers at a frequency of 39.9%. So 39.9% of his shots were jump shots. In this series against OKC, that number's up to 53.3.
Wow.
So we are pushing Jokic away from the basket. He is settling for jumpers, and that's what he'll take. Like Jokic is a jump shooter. He's one of the most efficient scorers ever. But the jumper is nowhere near as reliable as the best touch ever. Yes, around the rim, whether it's that floater or the little baby hook or Sombor shuffle or whatever. I would much rather Jokic is taking a 15-footer every single time than something close to the basket. And then layup frequency during the regular season, 32.5% of his shots were layups. In the OKC series so far, 21.7. So we're keeping him away from the rim. We're keeping him away from the paint. We are making him take jumpers, whether it's threes or it's those long twos, or just, he's having to turn around real quick because the shot clock's getting low. That's exactly what you have to do. He is one of the best offensive players I've ever seen. And it's a battle between an unstoppable force in Jokic and an immovable object in the center defense. And they've met the challenge. The specific numbers for Jokic in this series, he's putting up 26.3 points per game, which this is amongst his 16 career playoff series. And shout out to Carson Braber of Nerd Sesh, our guy, friend of the pod, for these stats. Amongst Jokic's 16 career playoff series, 26.3 points per game is 9th, which is kind of insane. 5.3 assists per game, that is his 14th out of 16. 5.8 turnovers per game. We've got Nikola Jokic averaging more turnovers than assists, and that is the worst mark of his playoff career. 39.1% from the field. Would you like to take a guess on what the lowest percentage he had shot in a playoff series before this was?
I'm gonna go with like something like 50s, even something crazy like that.
Pretty close, 47.7. So he's shooting 8.6% below the lowest previous number in field goal percentage. 3-point percentage, 21.4. That's the worst. And then true shooting percentage, he's at a 49.1 true shooting percentage. Like we are completely eliminating his efficiency at times. It's been so impressive the way that we've done that. Again, it's just so like Mark. There are moments where, Mark has made some mistakes in this series, and I think it's not only an experience thing for the players, but also for coaches. But I feel like Mark, we talk about a great defensive mind with him specifically. What the Thunder have done to Jokic and what they've done defensively all season is a testament to how good of a defensive coach Mark Daigneault is. And, Sam Presti bringing this personnel. But it's been super, super impressive from this team, the way that they've slowed down legitimately one of the best offensive players ever.
Yeah, I just found his there was a graphic for Jokic's game 3. I think game 3, 4, and 5. He's 21 points per game, 33% field goal percentage, 4 of 22 from 3, and higher turnovers to assists, 5.3 to 5. In the first 8 games, it was 26 points, 50% from the field, basically 50% from 3, 16 to 37, 9, basically 10 assists, 4 turnovers. Like the last 3 games have been completely switched. And it's like you said, I think this is a very calculated effort on Daigneault's part. I wanted to mention this on this podcast because on the game 3, game 3. Yeah. A lot of people on the internet were calling for Mark Daigneault almost to like have his job taken away, which was crazy. And I was talking a little bit about it. I mean, the defense we've talked about a little bit already, but I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the rotations, because one of the qualms was that Lou Dort was just out there way too much in game 3, despite shooting poorly. And then tonight we had a lot more Caruso. I think Caruso ended the game tonight. And then we had a lot more Kaysen. Both of those guys played more than Lou did. I personally thought this was a much better, just on both sides of the floor, much better performance from Mark. Like he was taking guys out that were not shooting very well, even if they were the guys that he normally keeps in. I mean, Isaiah Joe, he only played 7 minutes because he was shooting so poorly, and I think that's fair.
Yeah.
Lou Dort, same deal. He only played 19 minutes, and Caruso was 28 minutes. I don't know if Caruso can play that many minutes every game as with his age, but like if you are watching these games, you have to be like, give me every minute of Alex Caruso. And I think if you're Mark Daigneault, you have to be thinking the same thing. Like you need those guys on the floor as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that. That's our conversation is, can Caruso play this many minutes at his age? And he's 31 years old. He just, compared to the rest of the team, he feels like 48.
He just feels like an ancient man.
It's probably the balding too. The balding doesn't
He's
help
bald.
a lot.
Yeah. White bald guy. Feels a lot older.
Feels old. Man, imagine if he had like a beard. That'd be crazy.
That would be, he kind of almost does. But yeah, it's
weirdish.
We need the Caruso minutes. I would love like something between like 25 and 30, especially if Lou's not like shooting super hot.
Yeah, I guess Caruso's thing would be what we call like a chin strap kind of thing he's got.
It's like
I guess it is a beard, but I was thinking like the full like.
No,
imagine if he had like a bunch of scruff. Like he'd look like he would look like the veteran that they brought in as like a ringer who's like 47 years old and like played in the 80s and talks about how this era is so much softer.
Yeah, he needs to look even older just to lean into it.
Yeah, to sell it. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was also interesting, like Shea's new rotation that he played. So he came out with like after like 5 or 6 minutes, he exited the game.
Oh yeah,
and then he is out for like 3 minutes. And I thought he was just going to come in at the beginning of the second and play the whole second, but he comes back in like at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, like 2 or 3 minutes
comes back
left
in for the second, which I thought was really interesting. He ended up playing 38 minutes. He didn't play a ton.
Mm-hmm.
Jokic, for reference, Jokic played 43. Christian Brown played 44 minutes. If you just want a reference of how much they were playing. But yeah, like it was interesting to see Mark switch things up. And I thought he did a great job down the stretch. He gave Wiggins run, he gave Kaysen run. I know people want them to kind of close, but I'm still good with us closing with our double bigs and having J-Dub and Shea out there. And then Caruso, to me, that is like the best 5-man lineup that we have for this playoff setting. Love Lou. It's not been the best. Of course, we need the shooting from him. He was 2 of 10 from the outside. Yeah. And, Caruso has been a more reliable option. Kaysen's a more reliable option. Wiggins is a more reliable option. Hopefully at home, Lou will be a little bit better. He's not going to get benched. I just saw Nathan in the chat say, just so everyone doesn't flip out, Lou's going to start.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, I'd be shocked if Lou didn't start. Mark's not one to switch up the starting lineup just for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think there are going to be more moments if he keeps shooting like this, where it is
Shorter leash.
closing. And I mean, to be honest, like I'm completely cool with that, with Lou not being in the closing lineup, because Lou's awesome defensively, but I think Caruso can do a lot of similar stuff. Of course, it might depend. Like I think, say we advance and we're playing the Timberwolves against a guy like Anthony Edwards, Lou is probably the guy you want to go to more in that spot, like that more physical, like stronger defender. So I'd probably go to Lou to close more there. But with this matchup, I'm happy with Caruso being out there because I think he does a really good job on Jamal Murray.
Right.
I think he does a really good job on Christian Brown, or whoever he gets out to. He plays bigger than he is. Of course, Lou does as well. But it's the added benefit of him being able to knock down the 3-point shot, which Lou just cannot seem to do at the moment. And he hit 2, Caruso hit 2, whatever, but Caruso hit 2.5 the attempts.
Right. That's a big difference.
Still love Lou Dort. I'm not calling for him to be traded or anything like that. Like I saw some people saying that he needed to be cut or that he literally can't play next game. There's always overreactions with people because Lou does a lot of stuff well too. Like the defense that he brings to the table is still super, super helpful. It's necessary. We need him. He draws offensive fouls. He sets the tone. He's a physical guy. Like we need Lou Dort 100%. But I think in the closing lineups, especially if the shooting continues, it should more often than not be Alex Caruso out there.
Yeah. And I do think Lou is going to figure it out. I think we've seen this even in this season. He's gone like 3 to 5 games where he just goes completely ice cold. It's part of his identity at this point, sort of. So yeah, he's going to start. But yeah, more Caruso. And I did like the fact that I don't know how many minutes Wiggins had in game 3. I guess I could just look that up, but
I can check it for you real quick.
But I feel like he had more.
He had 16 tonight, and last game he had 13, so 3 more minutes.
A little bit more.
But Wiggins has been pretty reliable as an offense. Like he was 3 of 5 last game for 7 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Today he was 11 points, 6 rebounds, plus 14. That's the highest on the team. Wiggins kind of saved the season today. Not just saving basketball, kind of saving the season, which is super cool. I know Wiggins had that really, really good stretch in the season, and it's like, oh my gosh, is the leap here? And there have been some ups and downs since then. But he came up so big for us. Last game he came up big too. Of course, we didn't win, but this game in particular, like we don't win this one if Aaron Wiggins isn't bringing the offensive punch that he brought to the table. Not even close to winning this one. And I know people want him to continue to get more and more minutes, and I agree if we need that offensive punch. I just thought in general though the rotation was really good today.
Oh yeah,
like
agreed.
Especially in the second half, first half, maybe a shorter leash for Lou, but obviously it's a Lou Dort. He's been so reliable. You want to give him that run and give him chances to prove himself. Yeah,
I mean 19 for Lou is fine with me. I think that's enough of a sit him down for a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I think Mark was very fluid with his minutes today. Like he wasn't just locked in and like, these are my guys, these are how I play them. They're going to play the end. It was like, okay, these are the guys that are making the impact and that's what you want out of a good coach. So for sure. Mark is not going anywhere by any means.
No, Mark is not going anywhere. He doesn't need to get fired because he made a couple mistakes in a series that is tied 2-2. It would have been cool if we won those 2 clutch games, where we swept them and we're resting now and everything like that. But it's at some point we're going to face adversity. It was always going to happen. If you expect us to go 16-0 and win the NBA Finals, it was never going to happen. Like, yeah, we're a really, really good team, but we're expected to win this series. And I am expecting us to win this series. But I picked Thunder in 6. Sure, we haven't exactly gotten there the way that I might have liked to, losing those close games, but I pictured us losing 2. And I think, like, if we go on to win the series, win the Western Conference, win the title, whatever, this is very, very valuable. Like, they have talked to guys in the post-game press conference about how important this is, how they're happy they're matching up with Denver because it's a really good opponent. They're experienced. They're going to push the Thunder to their limits. You need that. And honestly, like I'm maybe knock on wood by saying this, but Denver is a scarier team than either Minnesota or Golden State to me because they have Nikola Jokic, because of that experience they have. Not that the Warriors don't have that, but especially with Steph Curry, coming off the hamstring injury and limited. And then, some of the role players I don't trust as much. Like to me, Denver is the second best team in this Western Conference. And, we're getting to play them round 2. It's the same case to me as Dallas last year, where Dallas ended up being the best team in the West and we were the second. But it feels like this is like the big series in the Western Conference right now. And if we can get over this hill, I feel very confident saying that we're going to win the next round and that we'll be in the NBA Finals. So go out there. Now you win 2. You have given yourself an opportunity, despite how bad everything felt. It sucks to lose in heartbreaking fashion the way that we did. And there were so many people today going to the third quarter down or going to the fourth quarter down 6 that were saying, oh my gosh, the season is over
Yeah.
and this and that.
Jump and
And
chip.
I can't lie. I was like, shoot, we're in a bad spot. But I'm not going to doubt this team because they won 68 games and they haven't lost 3 games in a row all year. I didn't think they were going to start in the playoffs, and they didn't. So now you win 2 out of 3 back in Oklahoma City, and it's over. Or you win 1 in OKC, 1 on the road in Denver, and then you go ahead and get out of there in 6. But either way, you now have a best 2 out of 3, 2 of the 3 games at home. You've taken back. We have home court advantage going into these final 3 games of the season or of the second round. Hopefully not of the season.
Yeah, for the series. Is home court advantage actually good?
I have been kind of pushing the home court disadvantage agenda a little bit here.
I think we need to start realizing that maybe it's not that big of a deal. Like every road game is just
I think it is for a team like us, like the youth that we have, and especially like Lou, the way that he shot better at home. Like
that's true. Lou does shoot better at home.
I never like to be at home. Also, I firmly believe that heading into Game 5, they're going to announce that Shea is the MVP and he's going to raise the trophy before the fan base. Before Game 5, I would expect so. I don't know how the draft lottery is tomorrow. We still don't know who the MVP of the NBA season was. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk about another big day ahead of us? Like it's Monday, it's the draft lottery. Tuesday is Game 5. Yeah. Thursday is Game 6.
A lot is happening this week. Shea's going to be MVP. A lot's happening. Busy week. Yeah, I mean, it is home court advantage. I'm happy with that. I think the fact that I think you already said it, but it's a 9:30 p.m. Central game is ridiculous. I'm not at all happy about that, and I don't think anybody who works early is happy about that either. But we'll try to survive.
Is that what the game is on Tuesday?
It is 9:30 p.m. Central, 10:30 your time. So yeah.
No, actually, it's 9:30 Eastern.
Oh, I thought I read 9:30 Central. My mistake. Okay, a little bit better. Never mind.
Huge win. Also, game time not announced on Thursday for some reason yet.
Still isn't. Yeah, I don't know why. It wasn't yesterday either.
I wonder if it's just because like they don't know. It probably depends on if the Cavs Pacers gets to that game, and then they'll have to push the Thunder game back a little bit. They could probably put Thunder Nuggets like a little bit earlier if they don't need to have a Cavs Pacers game ahead of it.
Would love that a lot.
Yeah, I mean. By the way, quick checking across the league. Pacers up 3-1.
I was going to mention that. Never. It was like a 50-point lead at halftime, something like that.
I think the most it ever got to was like 43.
43. Okay.
It felt like 50.
You were saying, whoever wins this series goes to the finals. I might argue that whoever wins this series wins the finals. The way the
It's a possibility. I still feel like Boston is going to beat New York, to be honest.
Game 3 did feel a little, like a shit.
That felt like to me, they're like, okay, we've woken up.
We're locked in.
And I mean, like the first 2 games of the series, it was so abysmal, the offense. So maybe that isn't the case. Like maybe they lose in Game 4. And even if they win Game 4, it's still tied 2-2, and then it's a best of 3. But I feel like the Celtics kind of got their all-time shooting woes out of the way, and now they're back, and it's like, hey, we're just really, really good. Yeah. So I still think the Celtics are going to make it out of that round. I still think the Celtics are going to be the team that, if we make it, that we're going to have to play in the finals. And that is scary. But, I do think like this
series is big for that if we make it there.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. This series does so much for us getting through the Denver Nuggets, if we're able to make it to the finals, like being able to take down a team that has this much talent on it and is led by a player like Nikola Jokic. And I mean, Jokic is the best player we're going to play because he's the best player in the world. So like, Ant is awesome, or Steph is awesome, and Jimmy Butler is awesome, and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, or if it's the Pacers, it's Haliburton, Siakam, or if the Cavs come back, it's Donovan Mitchell, or Garland, the Knicks, it's Brunson. Like all those guys are awesome, but Jokic is the best player we're going to play, like very, very clearly. So, get out of this round, get to the NBA Finals, and let's get OKC a title. I mean, I'm feeling good. Going to Game 5. We
needed this. We need it, and now it's a 3-game series.
Yeah, what I was telling to people, because I went and played pickup hoops yesterday, people are asking me about it because they know I'm a Thunder fan. They were like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, "Honestly, I feel fine. Like it sucks to lose Game 3 like that." But what I said is, I think whoever wins Game 4 wins the series. We win Game 4, I'm confident we're going to win the series. If the Nuggets win it, we go down 3-1, they're probably going to win the series. So we won Game 4. We did it in clutch fashion, the way that a lot of people didn't know if we could. And I think this win, getting a win like this, I'd rather we get a win like this now than a blowout win, because now I think the guys have shown themselves that, hey, we can do this. We can win in clutch games. We can figure it out. Like, we got the processing out of the way. And I'd rather we have these issues in the second round, assuming we get out of it, than we get to the NBA Finals and we've annihilated everybody. And now suddenly we have to learn how to win clutch games. I mean, this team didn't play many clutch games all season. So we're getting that experience at the moment. And it's not ideal to get it now as opposed to earlier, but they learn. Like, this is a very quick learning team. And I think you saw that on display. Like, the offense and the execution and stuff, it didn't feel anywhere near perfect, but it felt so much better down the stretch of the game today.
Oh yeah, the fourth quarter was light day and night from that first half. And yeah, like I know this isn't technically the first clutch game of the playoffs. I think we had one in Memphis, but this did feel like the first the
29
real
point comeback
one
was a clutch. Oh no, I think the 29 point comeback was a clutch game, and then also the
last game
was also clutch.
Yeah. So there was this isn't the first, but it definitely felt like the first real meaningful one that actually proves something that no offense to Memphis, but that's not like a team that you're scared of too much. The Nuggets,
Denver's a lot better. They are way better at executing. Which, by the way, I want to shout out David Adelman, because I mean, this has to be the first time it's ever happened that a coach has more playoff wins than regular season wins on their resume, right? Like, there's no way.
That's crazy.
So
I don't know how much of it is him and how much of it is Jokic, but I mean, at least he's there, at least he's.
Yeah, I just feel like he's done, got thrown into the fire, and I thought the Nuggets were insane for firing Michael Malone that late into the season. But I mean, they did it, and they're playing really well. They're defending their butts off. This was a bottom 10 defense through the regular season. And I do think a lot of it has also been us floundering a little bit offensively at times, but they've played really good defense, especially for a team that was supposed to be bottom 10 in the league. They've been good. Like, they're just a good team, you know?
That zone they were throwing out there was like giving us nightmares, at least in the third quarter. So
I mean, we've gotten the chance to play a lot of zone. We've gotten the chance to play against a lot of zone. We've gotten the chance to play now a clutch game that we've won. We've gotten to learn and get our butts kicked at a couple of other clutch games. I think we've gotten some really, really good experience in this series so far, and that's super valuable.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to matter down the road if we get there, but we got to get there. We have Tuesday and Thursday. Hopefully, get it done. I want to I yapped a lot before you got on, so I already talked about a lot of specific players from tonight, but we've already hit a couple of them. But is there any that you wanted to throw out there that were something else that you noticed before we wrap up?
Yeah, let me look at the list real quick and see if there's anything else I want to go ahead and shout out before we
got the Caruso, the Case, and the Wiggins.
Credit to I Heart and Chet, they're rebounding. That's been super valuable. And I know not a great, it was 4 of 10 for Chet for today. Hartenstein was only 3 of 7 for 8 points. Like, nothing too huge on the offensive end. But we had 55 rebounds to Denver's 49. Out rebounding them is huge.
I can't believe we out rebounded them. It did not feel like that in the moment.
And then 15 offensive rebounds to their 12. Like, those guys have come up super, super big. And it's not like Kaysen's rebounding is also something that goes super unnoticed. Kaysen had 3 offensive rebounds today, 5 from Hartenstein, 2 from Chet. But not like one thing that hurt us a lot last year was the rebounding against Dallas. Like, obviously that was a big flaw, or one of our big flaws. So the fact that now we are rebounding really well, because we got destroyed on the glass in game 1. And then since then, we've been pretty consistently out rebounding them. Like, that's a way to win a series when you're not shooting well. Like, the Thunder are in a real big cold stretch right now. A game where they only made 10 threes, you can win because you can out rebound the Nuggets, and you give yourself extra opportunities. Like, we had 7 more shot attempts than them, and we made 6 of those. So,
wow,
that's the difference in the game right there.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Gordon got so many offensive rebounds; it just felt like they were beating us in that category. But now looking at it, it's like, yeah, that's pretty crazy. I did not realize Kaysen had 3 offensive rebounds.
I knew I could picture at least 2, but we'll have to figure out what the third one is. Yeah. But something else like that's, it really does feel like offensive rebounds against your favorite team are maybe like the most devastating.
I think that's what it is. Just mentally, you're like, I just want it. you stop Jokic finally, and it's like, oh, now he gets a second chance. It's like, well, he
Yeah,
can't do
exactly. Or like Aaron Gordon finally misses a 3 and they get the ball back. I'm like, oh my God, don't give him another one.
that. Yeah, it's the most. I think that is. Yeah, you're right. The most mentally like a devastating thing to happen. But it's crazy. Yeah, we somehow were +3 offensive rebounds, plus 6 rebounds total. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, and I do want to say real quick, a lot of people are being very hard on Shea because obviously, he's going to win MVP of the league. We hold him to a high standard, but I really think Shea was good in this game. Like the efficiency, 8 of 19 is not ideal, but 25, 6 and 6 with 2 steals. And in the fourth quarter, the reason we won this game was because Shea hit a few buckets. He had a layup, he had a couple of middies. We don't win this one if Shea doesn't go on that little stretch, and that's what he does. And it reached a point where at the end, we were shooting a lot more free throws. And credit to him, he was like trying to. I mean, he only took 19 shots in this game. It's not a lot. He was willing to defer like down the stretch.
Mm-hmm.
They're setting a lot of pressure, and yeah, he took 2 of those threes. But I believe it was a 3 offensive rebound and then 3 again. So it's kind of like the same offensive possession. Clearly, what the team wanted to get was a Shea 3 or a 3 of some kind, and that was the shot they were looking for. So I mean, like I don't mind that. Shea has earned the right to take shots, and unless it's just absolutely catastrophically like, what are you doing? I'm never going to be too mad at Shea for taking a shot, especially because the threes he took were kind of in rhythm. I didn't mind where he was taking them from. Yeah, I mean, if you just take out the threes, he was 8 of 14 today from 2. Which is really, really efficient. Like, that's really good. I would like to see the team hit a few more free throws.
Shea missing 3 free throws was kind of crazy.
Yeah, we were
in general
26.
I think that just kind of goes back to just I don't know if it's just the legs or what, but the shooting.
Another thing that I want to point out with Jokic and talking about how tired he is. He missed 2 huge free throws down the stretch.
Oh yeah,
he had 2 free throws to go ahead, and they were 26 to 36, 72.2%. He had 2 free throws to tie the game up with like a few minutes to go, and he missed both. And I think we got a bucket immediately following that. So you want to talk about tiring Jokic out, wearing him down, and making things difficult, and leading to him short arming those jumpers or missing a shot. Like that is you can see it manifested. It's not just the defense. It's what we're doing, wearing him and the Nuggets down over and over and over again. And I think you really need to jump on them game 5.
Yeah. The free throws for Jokic those missed ones were big. The other one I noticed was when I think it was the last Aaron Gordon free throws where he somehow had 3 free throws in that, which I don't understand because he was definitely not shooting, but they gave him 3 and he missed 1. And, you play through all of the events that happened up to that where, they get the ball, Gordon hits a wild 3. If Aaron Gordon hits his free throws, they're down 2. And that's a completely different pressure situation for Dub to make those free throws. So, free throws for them down the stretch. That was very, 72% from free throws is pretty nuts.
T, I see what you're saying, talking about walking into a contested pull-up 3. Yeah, I don't love the pull-up 3s as much for Shea. As I like the step back, sidestep kind of ones a little bit more than the pull-ups. The pull-up 3 has been really rough for Shea in the playoffs, especially. I'm just saying it seems like, especially for the second 3, it feels like the philosophy was go get a 3, Shea, go get us a 3 kind of thing. And that's what he went to try and do. And we got the offensive rebound, and he's like, all right, Ben, I'm going to put another one up. And I feel like he got pretty good separation on that one. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying, T, for sure.
The second one was better. I mean, it was less contested, I felt like. So I was okay with that. The first one I would agree is being the 3 that he got wasn't the best, but it was, like you said, it was clearly they wanted that. So, and it ended up working out. So we're not going to toil over it too much, but
yeah, no. And huge, like obviously huge win to save the season, but also if you want to have confidence in this team being a championship level squad, I think this should give you a little bit more confidence. Yeah, we shot terribly. Good teams, great teams, championship level teams win terrible games. Or you just don't play that great. Defense today was exceptional, but offensively, like really, really rough. And you're still able to pull out a win on the road in Denver, out of all places. Like that's championship team type stuff. So
defense wins championships. That's what they say.
Defense does. That's what Nico Harrison says. It's why you trade Luka Doncic. Huh?
That's why. We all believe in whatever he says. Nico Harrison.
Yeah. Real quick, Junior, are you more scared of 2025 playoff Aaron Gordon or PJ Washington last year?
Right now, it feels like Aaron Gordon, but that's probably recency bias.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually look up their stats.
He had 16 rebounds today. It's so funny. 15, 16, and 6.
Aaron Gordon's stats against us in the playoffs right now. What do you think he's shooting from 3?
Oh, I just pulled. I only looked at it briefly. I think it was. I'll say 43%.
54 points.
God damn it! I was even being a little generous there.
3 of 6, 2 of 3, 4 of 6, 3 of 7. Today was the worst he shot from 3. But he's putting up 17.5, 10.8 while shooting 55% from 3. It's crazy.
He's shooting 41% on the postseason.
And then PJ Washington last year, 17.5 as well. But like PJ shot more threes. Like he had 7 in a game, 5 and 5. But he shot a worse percentage. He shot 47%. It's an argument. It's a little bit of an argument. My thing is that Aaron Gordon, especially because he like kind of hit the game winner in game 1.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just maybe because he is shooting a better percentage, but also because like we saw a lot more misses because PJ is much more volume in that series. I just swear to God, I have not seen Aaron Gordon miss a 3. I know there are times, but I cannot like envision them because I just don't believe it's happened.
I'm totally blank. I think this is right. Didn't he hit the 3 to tie it in game 3 too?
Yep.
So we're basically 2 Aaron Gordon 3s away from sweeping the series.
Yes, we are.
So yeah, Aaron Gordon I'm much more afraid of Aaron Gordon than PJ Washington. That's what I'm saying.
People are comparing to PJ. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm much more scared of Aaron Gordon.
We have lost 2 games solely because of that man. That's a major difference.
PJ's 3-point shooting, huge for them and like kind of won them the games. But like the fact the fact that we can point to literal 2 moments and we can be like,
we could sweep them without these moments.
That's what prevented a potential OKC sweep. Is this dude Aaron Gordon becoming the greatest shooter of all time? Yeah, I'm more scared of Aaron Gordon. I don't care.
Yeah, laying that all out, there's a clear answer. I guess he's just gonna keep doing it, but I think if we keep holding Jokic to 30% from the field, I think that's a good trade-off. So.
Yeah, I'm okay with Aaron Gordon shooting like 50% from 3 if Jokic is going to be physically unable to
get into the paint at all. Good to me. Exactly. I'm cool with that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, it's getting late. We're going to wrap it up there, I think. Tuesday, late again. We'll be here. If you want to join us, please subscribe to the YouTube and like the stream. I forgot to send the link for the cookies and cream, but if you have Twitter, we have new merch out, cookies and cream. I already bought one myself. They are fire. For our demon duo, Casey Walls and Alex Caruso. Shout out them again today. Great time to get those. And if you are on Twitter as well, give us a follow at OKC Topic Thunder. We appreciate it. And we'll be back on Tuesday late to recap Game 5 in Oklahoma City. Cone, any final words before we wrap up here?
Shout out this team. They were never going to say die. They bounced back twice now. Let's go ahead and jump on them this time. No more bounce backs. Be the one to bounce first.
Bounce first.
Yeah. Hashtag bounce first. Don't love that. Don't
bounce
love that
first.
Hashtag. Maybe don't hashtag bounce first. Maybe
bounce first.
Maybe let's do hashtag. Let's just do Thunder Up. Let's just do it.
I think that works a little better.
Yeah, I think I like Thunder Up better than bounce first. Let's do that.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. God bless everybody. Hoop when you can. And as always, Thunder Up.
Thunder Up.